doing? Welcome back to another edition of Space Invaders TV. Yes, yes, yes. It's the last day of March the 31st, 2022. So yes, we going right in. Before we get into the topic, which we're gonna be speaking on, Donald and Melania Trump, and what I like to call a house divided. We'll get into that. But first, I want to say, I know the big talk this week since Sunday when the Oscars happened. Um, a lot of people had their comments and what should have been done, and oh, that's not right. Oh, he shouldn't have did that. Or if I would have, he had right, but he should have did it this way. Or he did that. My thing is this: for every action, there's a reaction. Okay, and we as adults, we should know better. Now, I'm not going to say who was right or wrong. I see how things are being played and people are saying things. And I got always say, I don't get into entertainment, the media, not media, the entertainment news and stuff. But I felt compelled to say something about this topic because this was right on time with just the things that go on in our life, period. You see, people fail to realize, now, right or wrong, for every action, there's a reaction. You cannot dictate how someone, if you offend someone, you can't dictate how you want them to respond back. Whether right or wrong, you can't, if you offend someone, if you do anything to someone that they deem is out of line, okay, you cross their line. And if you knew them, you would know what would send them over the edge, right? So definitely, if you don't know someone like that, you should never cross lines with them. Now, as I said often before, if people haven't paid attention, that COVID has pulled the sheet back from a lot of things in this world. And I stand on it firmly, and I believe that the Most High He created the pandemic to sit people down. Now, some people may say, you crazy. How you going to say that was God's doing? Because if he comes like he want to come, you wouldn't understand it. And he still came. And no one still understands it. Everyone still wants to continue to keep doing things the same way. Nobody's changing. So for that, I say, the Oscars, no more of the lame, corny jokes from the actors or the hosts. Chris Rock wasn't the only one that said something directed. That said something directed. You had one of the other actresses. She said something directed at Will Smith. He laughed that off as well. But what I'm saying is, no more of no more of those jokes, those type of jokes leading off and none of that. If you're gonna tell jokes. Don't joke on anyone. You don't know what people are going through. The world is in a different place right now. And that's why this was right on time to talk about, to show, like, for every action, there's a reaction. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. See, people want to do things and then want the response to be how and where they deem. You can't throw the rock and say, well, you should throw the rock right there. And you should stand right there. You can't dictate how things go. If you're going to throw a rock, you can't dictate how the response is going to be when you throw a rock. And for every action, there's a reaction. So when you throw a rock, it's just 9 out of 10 it might break a glass. That's the reaction. For every action, there's a reaction. And you cannot dictate how things are to go. You cannot dictate how it should happen. So many people saying things like, "Well, he did it at the Oscars." If you offend somebody, I don't think somebody's worrying about where it's happening at. If you offend someone or do anything to cross someone's line, I think with that situation, what I seen from I look at things from a whole different scope. So what I seen was a change of the times. Ain't no more of that. That just sent the message that, hey, if you're gonna tell jokes, tell your jokes. Don't joke on no one. This is not the first time someone got slapped for telling a joke. Let's just think about it. Many of us, we went to school. You seen someone joking on someone, and it led to a fight, right? What do your moms always tell you, or anything like, hey, watch what you say to people, or don't do that, did that. You learn things at a young age. So for so long, we were to condition to, oh, just because you're an entertainer, that you should let them joke on you. You watch comedians at shows. You watch people pay for tickets to go watch comedians perform, and they're hiking on people in the audience. This person paid a ticket to come see you, not for you to joke on them. Yeah, they come there to laugh because they may be a fan of you, but you know what that can do. You embarrassing somebody. They may not be that type of person that want that spotlight on them. Now today in the we got this technology world. Like, you see these things happening and people are recording. So now you have somebody clamming up. They have paid for a ticket to watch someone perform comedy, and they're being the butt of the joke. I'm hearing a lot of people now, a lot of comedians speaking out now about, that's most of the ones I'm hearing speak out are the ones that's concerned that play the smaller venues where someone can actually just walk up and smack the tart out of you. So my thing is, change the way you do it, because things has changed. We cannot approach things, and this is why I'm making a correlation with that situation and just life in general. What I seen was, you don't know what someone's going through. Watch your mouth. Do your comedy. Just do it another way. Now a lot of people say, yeah, he was grinning before having. Yeah, I seen that too. I seen all of it. I don't know. It seems fake to me. It seems staged. I don't know. But if it wasn't, if it was fake, it still was a message. And it was still a message in the fakeness. Okay? It still was a message in the fakeness. That's all I'm saying. It's still real life. Because you can't dictate where somebody, if you think now, you think if you offend somebody in this parking lot right here, that they should just get in their car and then where they should not they should not respond to you when you offended them. They should just go on about their merry way and just let you go ahead, right? That's okay. I watched, in prime example, I watched when Chris Rock, they showed when he joked on Jada Pinkett a while back at another award show. The whole crowd laughed. I listened to the comedian. I mean, not the comedian, the actor. His name doesn't. I can't. It doesn't come across right at this moment. But you guys may know who I'm talking about when I say it. He Harvey Weinstein grabbed his genitals. His wife was standing there. He told his wife told him, don't respond, don't do anything. So he didn't, but when he did speak out about it during the Harvey Weinstein, Harvey Weinstein owned a production company. Now he's doing a bunch of years in prison for all of those, sexual harassment, charges he had against him for multiple people. Right now, I'm gonna type up the actor's name that got his genitals touched, so I can make sure I'll get y'all the proper person I'm talking about. Yeah, so trying to see. Just give me a second, folks. Hmm. Yeah, I don't see any. I can't get it. His name don't ring a bell to me right now. It ain't coming to me right now. But anyway, yeah. So the actor that I'm talking about, Harvey Weinstein. It was at some uh, some party, and he touched this actor's genitals. Like walked up to him and grabbed him right in front of his wife. And this is the words from that actor at the time, and he says, his wife. The actor said his wife told him not to do anything, not to respond back, so he didn't. But when he spoke out about it, many people in the entertainment, comedians, they like clowned him. They clowned him, and many people talked about what they would do about that if that happened to them. So it's just like, man, I watch this stuff, and this is the reason why I don't get into that entertainment news, because there's so much BS, and it's so much fakeness that I see, and it's so much like, man, it's so many relationships that people will rally on this side one day, and then for someone that they beloved, and then they'll be on this side the next day for somebody else. You know what I mean? And it's like, come on, man, but these are the same situations. So this is the same type of situations, and then how are you gonna tell somebody to respond? And not only that, how are you gonna tell somebody to respond if they feel, yeah, maybe they were geeking off laughing themselves, and then they see their wife not laughing so much, and then they like, okay, it's not funny. Oh, this is serious. She's not funny. Oh, and then they remember back like, oh, you assaulted her before. You made harsh comments about her before. So now it changes. Okay, so if you can't tell a married person, you definitely ain't gonna tell a married person how they should defend their wife, you know, or their husband. You can't say that, you know. You just can't tell people when and where to respond to something that they feel like that is disrespectful to them. Now, yeah, he went up there, he smacked Chris Rock. Now the repercussions could have been the police could have came. Okay, yeah, he's not worried about that. This is beyond the money part. He's not worried about that. If you disrespect, somebody, they're not worrying about the authorities. They're gonna think that's gonna come later after they calm down. But they gonna handle what they handle. They gonna when they calm down, that'll. But at that second, they're gonna ain't no you cannot dictate, and that is the problem with today in the world. You watch so many videos today, you see so many things on the internet today with people just doing stuff to people, you know, and and the response, and whether you deem it a good response or not, it doesn't matter what you think. If someone disrespects somebody, you can't tell them how they should feel. And that's what it's like today. People want to tell people how they should feel, how they should react to things. You know, you can't do that. You know what I mean? You cannot do that. And that's why I want to say today about the world. Like, people in the world, you just cannot do things to people and then want to dictate where they should respond to you at, or if they should respond at all, or you think just because you have a certain type of position, you should talk to people a certain way. You have to know how to talk to people. If you can't talk to a person, if you feel like you can't get across to a person, you should go find someone that you believe can get across to the person you're trying to get something across to. because everybody has a breaking point, and everybody knows their breaking point. We are all different. Some people could take more than others. Some people could take more than others. So we all know our breaking point as adults. We know, you should know, you know where to tip you over the edge, where to send you there. So, hey, if there's something, stay away from people and places and things that are going to tip you, that are going to like send you over the edge. Stay away from that type of stuff, and just watch what you say to people. It's all about how you say things to people, for one. Okay? You could tell a joke. It's all about how you joke on a person. If you're gonna tell a joke at these award shows, inform the person that you're joking on that you're gonna say this joke, and make sure it's okay with them. How about that? How about that? When you write that in your script, put that in there too in the notes. Ask the person, can talk with them and make sure they're gonna be all right with that. Because you don't know what somebody could be dealing with that day. And like I said, this isn't the first time that somebody walked on the stage and slapped somebody. It's just on the stage of that magnitude. There's stages all over the country that has happened. We don't have to see it. We know it. There's all types of stages, all types of events. Not just those type of events where people are going. Not saying that they right for doing any of that, just walking up on the stage if somebody's performing, if somebody's holding a rally or anything. I'm not saying none of it is right. What I'm saying is these things happen, and everybody's just up in the awe. So man, just watch what you say to folks. Watch how you treat folks. That's just it, man. But moving on to this, want to talk about Donald and Melania Trump, a house divided, as I call it. So we see, and why I say that is because it's Donald Trump being the president, right? The former president, right? You were thinking his household, well, when it comes between him and his wife, that they'll be on the same team. Especially him being a former president, right? Whether most wanted him there or not, you would think they would be on the same page, right? When it comes to politics, right? But obviously not. So we know that we have the war going on, and with Russia and the Ukraine, and the remarks that Trump has made so far this week, and saying things of this nature in the media. They caught him at a rally and pretty much saying how that was a smart move, that Putin putting 200,000 troops up on the border, that was a smart business move, and that a negotiation, rather, what Trump said. Mind you, in the events of this, many, children and civilians have been killed during this war between Russia and Ukraine. And it's disheartening when you see it. What I mean, especially just seeing children, man, and just and then the hard thing as well. You seeing children that are dead, and families, and then you seeing children that don't even have a clue what's going on, and their parents are trying to hustle them and get them to safety. It's disheartening, And if anyone has a heart, you kind of, it's you just don't want to see those things. You know what I'm saying? And you just pray for Ukraine and pray for Russia, and pray that they would. I've talked about their issue, and it dates back, to when Russia, when Ukraine gained their independence from Russia in '94. So their issue dates back, man, and it's even though they had their independence, it's still like Russia's like, hey, man, you can't be going against, pretty much like you going against us to be down with this party over here, and all of this is kind of from that, and it's just like, man, it's just disheartening. So you just pray and hope that this cease soon, you know, um, and continue to pray for those people of Ukraine, the Ukrainians, and pray that Russia just stands down, man, and understand. Okay, we know you the big power over them, you know. Let's sit down and come to some understanding. You have innocent people dying over here for whatever your reasons are, you know. So yeah, we just hope that we get it together. So, but you have Trump saying, "Oh, that was a big business move." Okay, you can't talk about people's lives as a bargaining tool. But this is all from a man that has no political. This just shows, as I spoke on him in the past as well. Trump has no experience with, you know, politics. He never had, you know. And what's so crazy, Trump had a lot of support before the positive politics. He had a lot of support from he was friends, I would say, with a lot of black entertainers. He partied with them, and once he became and got into the politics, well, I wouldn't say he got into the politics, but wanted to run for presidency for whatever his reason is, and I think it was all personally Trump's reason for wanting to get into the White House and become president. It was all just to show, like, yeah, I'm in here. And I personally thought, like, he just wanted to change some things to better himself and his constituents. That was just my belief. And me being from the North I knew a lot of the people from the North. I'm from the tri-state area where Trump is from. And I knew that a lot of people from the North weren't gonna vote for him. And when you seen it when he first ran, he didn't. And remember, Trump, that wasn't his first time running. He was running when during Obama's first term, when Obama was running for the first time. Trump was running too, but he dropped out. He had no support. He was just like it was just like it was. He was there. He was around. Nobody paid attention to him. He wasn't a factor. Okay, but he just continued on. I mean, as the businessman. One thing I would say, he had, in his time, he had, he was good with his business, but we're in a new time now. And the way you do business and the way you handle things is different now. And I would be one to say that at one point I said, you know what, Trump is he has some savvy with him. He has some, relationships with him. And at one point I was like, man, Trump, and this was early on, I was like, man, Trump probably, with his business savvy, he could probably be some sort of advisor. This was way before presidency thing here. I said he could be some sort of advisor when it comes to the finances. Maybe he can help out. But then as I looked deeper in, I said, man, this guy had more bankruptcies than anything. So I'm like, oh, hell no, he can't do that. So yeah. And then I feel like he didn't have a stern following. So what he did was, I know the slickness being from the North, man, that what he did was change his direction. And once he started getting people, and I totally think, and I had this conversation with some buddies of mine, and I believe that when he came with the Make America Great Again, see all the hateful people, they were thinking something different. I think when he actually came with the Make America Great Again, he was saying something totally different. Like, he wasn't saying it in a hateful way. He wasn't meaning it in a hateful way. He was meaning it. I was believing that he was meaning it in a whole different way. Like, we have to do business. Like, let's Let's do business like we used to, but let's make it great again. Let's get back to doing business with ourselves, how we do business. So many people kept saying, oh, everything's being made over in China. Everything's being made. I believe that he was saying like, hey, let's bring it back to here, to making and keeping the money here. I believe that's what he was trying to say. But then what happened was, you had those hateful groups and everything. They took that as something else. He, not being a great politician, he don't know nothing about politics. He didn't know. He was so starving for followers that he just ran with that and allowed them to fall back, because of these same people that rally behind him watched and looked in magazines and seen Trump way before the pilot, before he wanted to become president, would have seen him with pictures and the likes of Puffy Sean Combs, with Jay-Z, with all your big name black entertainers. One of his good friends was Russell Simmons. Yes, if you know anything about music, Run DMC, Run's brother is Russell Simmons. Okay, him and Russell Simmons always were in pictures together. You know, because at one point you had a lot of back in the late '80s, early '90s, maybe to the mid '90s, you had a lot of entertainers still trying to, like, they wanted to have that money, like whatever they thought, like Trump. So you would hear a lot of rappers referencing Trump and money and jets and plane boats and things of that nature, back then, But then you had the entertainers, starting to shoot up and beginning in the Forbes and making way more money, where Trump wasn't even a factor in the Forbes. Back in the 80s and things of that nature, Trump was in the Forbes all the time. When they ran that Forbes list down, he was in there, So a lot of people referenced that, and he had a lot of friends in the entertainment industry, and he lost a lot of them once he got into politics, and then he started going the other way. And then you're saying make America great again, but you're not, like, explaining what you mean. Like people that were friends with him, especially the black entertainers, I guarantee they were like, what do you mean when you say that, though? Expound on that. And he just let it roll, because I believe that he was waiting. He was trying to gain a following that he hadn't really had stamped a following within his party. And yeah, I just think that's what it really was, because there's even talks of how people said Trump would flip flop. He's a Democrat one time, and then he was a Republican. Then all of a sudden he started getting down with the Republicans once he wanted to run. He found that was his. He found, okay, that's the party I'm gonna run for, and I'm gonna represent rather, and So then we move along and to present day, to coming back to right now today, and then you see him, with Putin, and I just don't believe that he understood the whole, the relationship with Russia and the United States. I don't. He hadn't got a clear relationship, and I think that Trump really had a thing out for the government, our government. I think I really feel, and when I watch things as a citizen, I watch things and I see, and it's like it was always like he's pointing finger and trying to point at the government, as to say, like, yeah, like pointing fingers and poking them. Even when you think back to when he was running for president, and they were at where they had a town hall, and they asked him about the taxes, and that sent everybody over. A lot of people were speaking on that, and he said, "What do you pay taxes?" They kept asking about taxes, and he said, "Well, yeah, I try to pay very little, like," and he never showed his taxes. Still, we don't know really what he paid. I mean, I think we did find out some. I gotta look into that. I think we did, but which we know it was little to nothing. But I don't know the exact dollar amount. Um, I think that sent people over, and I just think that his whole reason for wanting to get into politics wasn't what most people thought. I think it was a narcissistic thing, a narcissist thinking. I don't think that it was what the people that followed started to follow him really thought. You know, look at when how he rallied around, and then you had all these had all them folks uh climbing the walls, and back then, uh which was he what has him in trouble now for January the 6th, when everybody's at the Capitol climbing those walls, climbing in, breaking windows, hurting people, and his response afterwards, like he didn't even. He's like, "Go home. I love you." Like, it wasn't even like, "Hey, like, hey, okay, this you guys went too far." But how they're viewing it as he instigated that. That's how it's being viewed by many, and rightfully by the government. And so there's phone calls that's been monitored from that day. They're looking into that. They want to pull phone records. Um, I didn't notice that every call that has to be on the log. Anytime there's a call made from the White House, from the president's phone, not his personal cell phone, but from the phone in his office, Oval Office or whatever, it has to be recorded. He has the journal he has to write down, and they're seeing like, okay, you called this person at this time, and then you didn't document that you made a call. And I guess it's all not to trade. It's all for safety purposes. You know what I mean? I believe I know that's what it has to be, just for safety. Just in case. So they're looking at call logs and things of that nature from that day, and they're seeing some activity that's looking strange there, that's revealing some things to them, and they're just going to dive deeper in. You see, and a lot of people say, "Oh, if Trump was in there, this wouldn't be happening with Russia and Ukraine." This don't have nothing to do with the United States, and Trump rightfully can't say nothing about it. This is a beef between Russia and Ukraine. It's almost like the big brother against little brother, and just trying to continue to let them know who boss. And you know, and in the middle of all of this, innocent people, children are losing their lives in the middle of this. And I don't think that if the United States could get in it with it being no problem, they would. All the allies are standing down. You know, per request of Ukraine, the allies are standing down. All they're doing is help with supplies. I don't think no one, you know, because it can cause a whole whirlwind of issues. If you think things are high now, if you think inflation is up now, if the United States jumping that and all the allies, I mean, the goods that we trade between, it's gonna get funky. So you have to know, like, this is different. Stand down. You know, um, and people say, "Oh, Trump would have did." He People think Trump wasn't that he wasn't stupid as most people think, because when you had North Korea was popping off during his time, he wouldn't say anything. He knew better. He knew how to run. He ran his mouth to a limit, because those folks, when I talk about what I just talked about, you got to watch what you say to people, and you can't dictate the response of people. Them North Korea, man, you gotta watch what you say, because it could go down, and we'll be ready. But listen, that's all I'm gonna say. Do your research on them and their military and how many they got. So listen, but he was smart about that. He ain't pop off. He ain't pop off too much today. He was running his mouth, and somebody had to pull him back. Like, yo, man, you better shut up, man. I don't think we already over in Afghanistan. We're thin. We don't got. Listen, stop talking to him. Somebody got to him like, shut your mouth. You know, we can't do that right now. We ain't in a position. Our troops are spread thin right now. We still in Afghanistan, man. Chill out. You know. So that's that. And so then I look now, and he's like, he said those issues. He said that about Putin and saying how in his last rally he had uh, that Trump was in. He said, yeah, that was a great business move by a great negotiation that he put 200,000 troops up on the borders of Ukraine, and like, yeah, did like gave them time to dare them to like, and I'm like, you don't negotiate with people's lives, man. Like you put 200,000 troops on the border. You call that a great negotiation? Like you talking about people's lives, bro, and people have families, man. You just can't be playing around. You think if the United States just did that with their troops, with our troops, and just thought to just toss our troops around like that, you know what I mean? Like that, you think that's great negotiation of people's lives? You have to be strategic and smart, and you have to know, like, you know, it's different. I don't know all the intricacies when it comes to that, but I understand that it's different. It's business. When you go on a war, it's a business. Like you have to strategically think, and there's certain buttons. The average button that you can touch with a regular citizen and they click off, like Will Smith, what he did to Chris Rock, like that ain't gonna send you to war. You know what I'm saying? See, that'll get you. What happened between Will Smith and Chris Rock, that'll get you slapped. That ain't gonna make two countries go to war. It gotta, because you said something. It got you gotta cross the line on some serious business, ethics, codes. You gotta cross the line on those issues that y'all agreed upon. And once you cross them lines, it's a wrap. Like you cross the line, it's not gonna be a wrap. It's like, hey, look, you know what you just did, man. You gonna straighten that out? Yeah, and you like, I ain't straighten nothing out. I'm gonna do this me. Oh yeah, okay. Well, look, we going to war. It's when you cross the line of ethics, codes, things of that nature. A slap, somebody just popping off. Two countries just yeah. That ain't gonna cause no war. You know what I'm saying? It has to be some strict lines, business crossed. And that's just that. So in this situation between United States, even if Trump was in there, he would not jump into that, because he just wouldn't. Like he couldn't. You know what I'm saying? So people like, oh, Trump. People need to understand and read things and understand what's going on out here. Like he just wouldn't have jumped into that because, first of all, believe it or not, Putin probably would have told him to stand down. He would have looked at him like he's stupid. Because again, he probably would have been offending Putin. Like, what do you think? We can't take them? You know, like, wait, I don't need you to come. Like, wait, we took some pictures together, but listen, you chill out. I got this. This is our business. Whether us as the people agree with what we're viewing. I mean, it's a sad situation. And so you have Melania Trump. You have Trump over there rallying for Putin. And then you have Melania Trump. She's, she's heartbroken by this. She's writing on her, like the Sun USA in the publications, the Sun USA. They got something from her Twitter when she wrote, "It's heartbreaking and horrific to see innocent people suffering," the former lady said. "My thoughts and prayers are with the Ukrainian people." They also go on to say Melania Trump called for donations to the Red Cross, which will be for the urgent humanitarian needs. Um, and she just goes on to say how she's just heartbroken about the situation, man. So she's hasn't having compassion for the people of Ukraine. She has her husband over here saying things and making remarks like this. You tell me if that's a sign of a house divided. There regardless of what, if he was a good president or not, he ran for president. His wife was there with him. Okay, um, that lets me know, and everything else in the past from that time when he was president, that your wife didn't agree with nothing. You often seen the face expressions of her, man. Face expressions tell a lot. Okay. Yeah. I mean, the body language tells a lot. So we seen those things throughout his time as president. Between them, it just didn't look. It didn't look. It looked uneasy. Like it didn't look like they probably don't even sleep in the same damn bed. I'm just keeping it real. That's what it looked like to me. We old enough to know and can see, it can tell body language and facial expressions. Like it ain't those things don't lie. Those things don't lie. Um, so yeah, that's why I say it's a house divided in many ways, and politics is just one of them. Okay, um, and compassion. See, having a heart and compassion. See, you got to know a time and a place for all of that talk. You have to have a time, and see, we have yet, and see, people want to have Trump. I hear people, we like get Trump back. You have to have compassion for the people. Okay, you can't always be on 1,000. And all the past presidents, have you always seen them have you seen them hateful, or just saying making the remarks that we heard this guy make in the past, telling people to drink bleach, calling people out of their names? Like, have we seen this? And just saying things, and you're like, what? Like, the things that were said, you cannot, to the point that you had the media had to start fact checking this guy when he say things. They had to make sure to put the facts at the bottom. Like, no, that's not true. Like, that's how bad it got. And then you have folks that actually, I have no remorse for those people that's actually that's from what that were at the Capitol, climbing the walls. I have no compassion for them at all whatsoever. When on January 6th you climbing the walls, you hurting people. You're I mean, people died. You're just ignorant. Grown folks doing ignorant shit. That's something that you would probably think teenagers would do. You've seen these grown folks making a freaking fool of themselves. Because of what? Because of what? So, yeah. And a lot of people, like they always say, you can put things in a book, man. People, they don't read. You get this book right here. I showed this book before, The Fifth Risk, okay? It'll tell you everything that you need to know. Hold on, folks. Yeah. So you get this book here, the Fifth Risk by Michael Lewis. This book will tell you everything that you need to know concerning that time of Trump being in the White House. And it's not bad. It's not one of those books where it's bashing them. It's going through talking to the different departments, the people. You want to see how things were actually ran during that time. You want to know if he really knew what he was doing. He didn't know what he was doing. Donald Trump didn't know what he was doing. We all knew that. But this book right here, just reading it, it's going to break down a lot. I learned many things, and the departments of, like what was going on, and how they was just so short-handed in different departments, because he just come in there firing mean, well, you know, every president, you know, they get their own team and the people they want to have work in different departments. But you have people in limbo; they didn't even know they can. The president, new president, come in, he can fire or he can keep staff members from the previous presidency. So, but you have people in certain departments like that didn't even know, like, okay, am I gonna still be here or what? They packed their desks up and offices and everything, and then they were just waiting, like, you know, they didn't know if they were gonna stay or go, and then it was just like this whole dictatorship, just wanting to change things and not even really consulting with people. Didn't have his own staff, his own children and everything. Didn't have security clearance to because so they couldn't look at a lot of the documents, that sealed documents. They had to have clearance. His team members, Donald Trump's team members, didn't even have clearance on. Didn't have clearance, so they couldn't look at a lot of stuff that they should have been able to look at. So this book right here, Fifth Risk by Michael Lewis, it'll tell you a lot about that time of Trump's presidency. So a lot of you folks out there, oh, if he come back, he'll be. No. You read this book, you're gonna learn. You're gonna learn when you read this book, and you're gonna see, like, wow, if you want to know what was going on at that time, and you like a good read, you're gonna really be like, wow. You know, so if you were rooting for him, when you read this, and if you got some sense, when you read that, you're gonna be like, whoa, wait a minute. What? So, hey, he even did his own guy, that the former governor of New Jersey, Chris Christie, he even did him dirty at the end. To the night before that, he, you know, Trump was so unprepared that the night before he didn't even have his team assembled. The night before, the night that he won, he didn't even have his team assembled. He fired Chris Christie after he got in, because Chris Christie was like one of his consultants. Yeah. So, man, listen. That's why he was saying, and you see him saying crazy things. He didn't have anybody to, like, pull him back. He just say whatever. So, hey, man, like I said, once again, I'm telling you, I'm not getting any money for this. I just like to share. That's what this channel is about. Each one teach one, just sharing knowledge and everything. Get this book. I'm telling you right now, The Fifth Risk by Michael Lewis is a #1 New York bestseller. You know, he's a bestseller author, Michael Lewis. I'm telling you, get this book, The Fifth Risk. If you want to know about that time when Trump was in office, what was going on, you know, when the baton was handed to him from Obama, and even Obama tried to school him, and yeah, just get that book. Like I said, that's my time, folks. I'm your guy, Rashawn.